We have the RNC, of course, has been going on for the past several days. Did y'all watch Trump's speech last night?
I watched part of it.
Yeah,
No.
Charles?
I was in bed. No.
Again, thank you for your participation, Charles. It's always a pleasure.
That was not even. We didn't say that was going to be a segment. If it was, I wouldn't have watched it.
Well,
I'm going to watch it sometime today.
RNC is being described as the Super Bowl for Grindr because Grindr's numbers are skyrocketing in Milwaukee. Now, I don't know if that's because of all of the closeted homosexual Republicans that are in Milwaukee right now, or
Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham, maybe he is single-handedly shutting down the world with his Grindr usage. That all started. No, I don't know if is it all the closeted homosexual Republicans or is it just the journalists? I don't know. But I think a lot of people are confused about the RNC, and I'm sure you guys have seen this. We had the likes of Amber Rose, famous porn star, and I think abortion activist and previously hardcore leftist. She says that she's woken up, right? She had a conversation with her father, and now she's seen the light, I suppose, of Donald Trump.
Amber Rose is a porn star.
Yeah, she's a rapper, I thought.
Well, no, she wasn't that either. I mean, she rapped, but I wouldn't call her a rapper. She was a stripper at one point.
And is there has she released any videos of her having sex with men?
No, she has not.
Excuse me? Are you sure?
If they're released, I think they were leaked. She has not.
I mean, we're in Texas, so we can't do this live on the show since porn has been banned in Texas, and we just don't have any way of accessing it. Look at Michael using his VPN to try to hack it. We can't confirm this, but I'm pretty sure that if you went to Pornhub, you would find her videos.
That doesn't mean she released them. That's like Kim Kardashian's sex tape being leaked.
Purposely released. Kim Kardashian purposely released those. Her family.
The point is that does not make you a porn star. A porn star is someone who acts in pornographic videos.
I want to say Amber Rose is a porn star. Am I wrong?
Let's get off the porn star thing.
Describes Amber Rose as a model, rapper, and TV personality. Model. Okay, so we had that. We had Harmeet Dillon. How do you pronounce her name? Do you know?
Dylan.
Harmeet Dillon did a prayer to, I don't know, the Sikh god Mogadishu or something. I'm not trying to. I just don't remember what it's called. And it's been that first day was a little bit wild, not what people would expect from the RNC. And I'm curious to hear y'all's thoughts on all of this, all the different guests, and we'll get to Hulk Hogan and everything. I know that's what Charles really wants to talk about. Yeah. But naturally, bringing back the good times. I want to hear what you guys think about those types of speakers. A lot of diversity at the RNC, and we're told a lot that Republicans are not the party of diversity.
Charles?
Yeah, Michael. So here's my thing. I think it's fine. I don't take issue with it. What I do take issue with is that these same people or similar people, Republicans will criticize throughout the year and talk about how they're degrading society. These are terrible people, blah, 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 blah. But then, like, for instance, and it's not an equivalence, of course, but like there was so much conservative backlash to like Beyonce performing at the Super Bowl and what our children might think. But then you have Amber Rose, who, while she is not a porn star, has, apparently explicit videos out there. I know there are explicit photos. She's very much like not someone I think you want your children looking up to, but yet you have her speaking at the RNC. So I think you just need to kind of like reconcile the two and either decide, do you want these people in your party if they think like you, or do you want to continue to ostracize them because of what they do to the culture or to their life, and then run with that rather than only utilizing it and taking advantage of these people when they benefit you. But also, I don't think anyone's actually looking to Amber Rose for how to vote this November. Like, I just, maybe it might open people's minds who do follow her to think, like, let me see what other people are saying. But I do not think that anyone's going to be really motivated to vote for Republicans because of Amber Rose. And I don't think anybody from her audience was particularly tuned into the RNC for any reason. So I don't know how much of a benefit it brings.
I kind of disagree with that, but I'm interested to hear Michael's thoughts.
I think incrementally they Alice Johnson, she spoke at the was it the RNC of 2020 Trump's speech? She spoke right before him. Well, Ivanka did, but right before Ivanka was Alice Johnson. So they were making that case in 2020, which is, look, we're not the party of old where we're just a bunch of white people. And I agree that one person doesn't necessarily change minds, but showing that over and over years, Byron Donalds, like Anna Paulina Luna, just highlighting some of these people who are of different races. It's not a DEI play, but it's like trying to showcase that the Republican Party is not just white people. And here's some examples of that. Over time, that will have an impact on how people perceive it. And it will open people's minds to like, well, if I saw all these folks supporting Trump, what am I, is there something that I'm missing? And I think it's the right play in terms of the politics of it. And in doing so, the Republican Party needs to cater to different constituencies, which I also think is good.
Yeah, I think that Amber Rose, speaking of the RNC and sharing her story, actually probably does encourage other people to, like, her followers. I don't know who her followers are. I assume that it's, young women. Who else follows Amber Rose, Charles? Who do you think?
Young women.
Okay, sure, young women. And young women probably don't like Trump very much, I would think. And they probably don't think that Republicans are very cool, as the kids say nowadays. Cool, right? And so when Amber Rose goes up there and says, hey, I was lied to, and for some reason young women look up to her, I don't know, I guess so. And gay men, says Dane. Gay men also look up to Amber Rose. And so I'll take his word for it, right? That it is the RNC, and there seems to be a lot of gay men there. But so Amber Rose is, I think that she actually will, like, they look up to her for some reason, right? She's a girl boss of girl bosses. She's out there flaunting her stuff, showing her body. She's the embodiment of feminism, not letting any man hold her down. And now she's saying, huh?
The thing is that it's performative, not from her part, from the RNC's part. Sure, they let her speak. Great. So say you are a follower of Amber Rose and you see her speak and you're like, hey, let me give this party a chance. When you go give the party a chance, you're not going to find a welcoming environment for your policy beliefs or for your perspective. Amber Rose created an organization, a nonprofit, and a movement called the Slut Walk, where it was like embracing, women's sexuality and their sexual revolution, and like being pretty much naked, walking in the street for a march, which is not something you're going to find favorable on the right. And so it's performative from the right to put someone like that up when you don't actually support anything that she is involved in. Now, she might currently support some of your policies, but if it's not the other way around, then those people who support her are not going to find a welcoming home there. And I don't know if it's true at all, but there was an article that said that the only reason she's doing this is because she's under a couple of federal investigations for like crypto scams, and that she's trying to cozy up with the president so that if a pardon is necessary, she could get one. And I have no idea.
Did she release a slut walk coin token?
No, I don't know.
What's the price? What's the price, Michael? Look it up. It's on the rise. It's going to the moon. No, so I mean, okay, I take your point, and like, yes, and that's why I sort of found it so odd. This lady who is or is not a porn star, I don't know, but you can certainly find her sex videos online or on Charles's hard drive, one of the two. And you can, she none of the values that she's espoused over the years has anything to do with conservatism or anything like that. And so I think it's weird, right? I think it's just weird that she did that. And I'm trying to think like, well, okay, why would the RNC do this? And why would they have Harmeet Dillon up there doing her Sikh prayer to the one true God, which is not the Christian God? And, RNC and Republicans are typically pretty Christian, right? Why would they allow this to happen? Why would they do this? And I think they're trying to maybe, and Michael is probably going to correct me if I'm wrong, and I hope he does, that they're trying to actually play up the diversity and take advantage of the diversity, because as America becomes more and more diverse, they need to show that they are welcoming to a diverse crowd. Otherwise, they will lose. They can't constantly just, placate, I don't know, what's the demographic of Republicans? Anybody have a guess?
Middle-aged white men.
Currently, it's non-college educated white men.
Right, and they need to expand that. Right, as it becomes more diverse, I think even if they deport all of the illegal immigrants, all 20, 30, 25 million. I don't know what the actual number is. It's a lot. They still want to bring in a whole bunch with HB1 visas or college visas or whatever, right? They still want to import a bunch of people to work here. Mm-hmm. But they're not really, are they anti-diversity? I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it, and love it or hate it, but they have to appeal to these people.
I agree. And my point is that I don't take issue with Amber Rose being there. I take issue with the fact that if your goal is to lure her supporters over, then you need to have a welcoming home for them to be lured to. And so if you're going to do this, then make it a place that they're going to actually want to support and make it long-term support rather than just attached to one candidate. Because I think that's what happens, right? They might come over because she's supporting President Trump. They might vote for President Trump, but that doesn't mean they're going to be there during the midterms or 4 years later. Like, I mean, if you're going to try to lure these people over, do it on a permanent basis. And Harmeet Dillon, I think, is a little different than her in the sense that the reason she was asked was, I mean, I'm sure there were a number of reasons, but Harmeet Dillon has been very active in Republican politics. I know her law firm has done some of the work for surrounding the 2020 election. She ran for RNC chair. I think she's on the RNC committee. So she is like a very, very active Republican. So I'm not surprised that they asked her to speak. And I don't want to have what I said be confused at the start of this when I said that I don't think Amber Rose speaking there does much difference. I look at it very differently than I do like Alice Marie Johnson or some of these others. They, yes, collectively make a difference. And individually, I think their stories are very powerful and make a difference. Yep. I don't know that individually like if you were to take Amber Rose and Alice Marie Johnson and have them both kind of be representatives of the party and try to lure people over, I don't know that her pull would be as strong as Alice Marie Johnson's in terms of getting people to be convinced that the Republican Party is willing to advocate for them.
Yeah, well, and that's a good point. I think you're right. I would just, the only other thing I would say here is the leadership of the Republican Party, the leadership, the talking heads, the news media, I think they're overrepresented by evangelical Christians who like try to implement their moral code on everybody else. I think the base and where the party's going is like, we don't care what you do. We're for freedom. That's where, well, let me see. My optimistic view is that's where the party should be going, which is like, we don't care. Black, white, yellow, green. I don't care. I don't care. Gay, straight. I don't care. As long as you're for certain values, which is like individual freedom, limited government, like whatever they are, you know, bringing American jobs back home, whatever they are, we don't care. But as long as you believe those things, if you want to go slut walk, we don't care that much. But I hear that your point is still well taken, that the talking heads and the influencers among the Republican or conservative movement are overwhelmingly evangelicals who look down on that kind of behavior and are like, no, you need to get married at 20 whatever and have kids. And like, I get what you're saying. I just think that might be an overrepresentation of the party as a whole, and certainly as the voter base. I mean, I think about my friends who are MAGA, who are like blue collar, non-college educated, from small town. They don't give a shit about slut walks. They care about destroying the deep state.
Same. And I would agree with that with my friends. And I agree. And maybe the portion that I am talking about is not necessarily representative. What I'll end with is that even when they had her speak, the picture that they put up there ahead of her speech, they edited out her forehead tattoo. So the fact that they still wouldn't even let her be herself when they were presenting shows that there is still this kind of hesitation. And then the second half of what I'll say is that if you are a follower of hers and you went to Twitter the evening of the RNC and looked at some of the tweets from a lot of young people talking not just about her poorly, but talking about the fact that JD Vance is married to a brown woman, talking about the fact that his wife said that he became vegetarian as part of their culture, talking about a picture of him like at the Wailing Wall and how he's like, a shill for the Jews. There was still like a lot of ignorance. And then even Harmeet Dillon, there's a lot of commentary about her prayer and how it was inappropriate. And I think it's a small sample size. I don't think that that's representative of the whole party. But I do think that if you're not deeply steeped in party politics and you go and look and say like, hey, let me look on Twitter and see what people are saying, kind of maybe learn more, you're going to get a really bad taste in your mouth about the state of the party. If you're one of her followers or a follower of someone like her and you're trying to take a look at the Republican Party.
Yeah, it's a little bit more extreme example of Ron DeSantis saying the First Step Act needs to be repealed. It's the same dynamic, holding on to the past, kind of. But yeah, I hear
I'm kind of curious, Michael. Your friends that are, you know, blue collar MAGA supporters, whatever, they just care about destroying the deep state. They don't care about the slut walk. You know, I don't know. I think if I didn't have a daughter, I might just be like them too. But I have a daughter, and I don't see the culture going in like a really great way. And I really hate that. I would hate for my daughter to grow up in a place where the slut walk is accepted. And I would like something that she might be at risk for doing because, you know, I don't know, she got on Tumblr or something like that one day and they said that it's empowering. And I'm just wondering, maybe your friends do have kids. I don't know. But I think that there's a difference between like parents and non-parents when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah, the three I'm thinking of when I brought that up all have daughters. So I'm not saying they don't care, and I'm not saying that they would be like, "Oh, it's cool to slut walk."
You're not the voice. I know. I'm not saying that you agree with them. Like that. What you say is their inner thoughts and their beliefs. But I'm just curious.
I'm saying they're largely like that's so far down the list of priorities in terms of why they're MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
But your point's well taken as well. Like, would they want their daughter looking up to that woman? Probably not. But is it like at the top of their priority list to like shame her? No. They're like, give me the Epstein list. Hillary Clinton drinks children's blood, and we need to destroy the deep state. That's where they're at. MAGA.
The second one is the most important, and all roads